We're on part 3 of Captain Underpants and the Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman by Dav Pilkey. Chapter 11, The Refreshments. As George and Harold turned to leave the gymnasium, they heard the loud thumps of cleated wedding boots clomping down the aisle toward them.
"I'm gonna grind those kids into head cheese,"
screamed Mrs. Ribble as she lunged for the two boys. George and Harold screamed and ran to the back of the room near the refreshments. There they hid behind two large wooden pillars. Ms. Ribble approached the pillars and grasped them with her mighty hands. With a horrible roar, she pushed the right pillar over. It landed on the back of the luncheon table, causing the front of the table to flip high into the air. Unfortunately, this sent all of the food flying into the crowd. Crash! The creamy candied carrots clobbered the kindergartners. The fatty fried fish fritters flipped onto the first graders. The sweet and sour spaghetti squash splattered the second graders. The 3,000 thawing thimbleberries thudded the third graders. The 500 frosted fudgy fruitcakes flogged the fourth graders, and the 55 fistfuls of fancy French fried frankfurters flattened the fifth graders. By now, you're probably worried that the wedding guests had nothing to drink with their lovely appetizers. Well, rest assured, the second pillar took care of that. Ms. Ribble pushed the left pillar into the fresh fruit display, causing it to topple over, sending two large watermelons crashing down into two oversized punch bowls. This created two enormous splashes of tropical fruit-flavored punch, which rained down upon the wedding guests like torrential downpour. Now, no wedding is complete without a wedding cake. And when Ms. Ribble kicked the ice sculpture over, the resulting crash sent the beautiful double-deckered cake flipping high into the air right over Ms. Ribble's head.
"I've got you now," ha ha ha,
screamed Ms. Ribble as she grabbed George and Harold by their neckties. Splat! George and Harold undid their ties and ran out of the gymnasium screaming. "Oh, man," cried Harold, "I thought we were dead meat."
"Well, that's what we get for going to school on Saturday," said George.
Chapter 12, Ms. Ribble's Revenge. As you might imagine, George and Harold were nervous about going back to class on Monday. But for some strange reason, Ms. Ribble seemed happy to see them.
"Good morning, boys,"
Ms. Ribble chirped with a giant, evil, toothy grin.
"Come here. I've got something to show you."
"Uh-oh," said George. "She's smiling. That can't be a good sign." George and Harold cautiously approached Miss Ribble's desk.
"I took the liberty of adjusting your grades last weekend,"
said Ms. Ribble.
"You'll be happy to know that all of your grades have just dropped from B's and C's to F's and G's."
"Oh, no!" George gasped. "Not F's and G's? Hey, what's a G?"
"That's the only grade lower than an F,"
said Ms. Ribble. "Well, there's no such grade as a G," said Harold.
"There is now, bub,"
said Ms. Ribble.
"Looks like you're both going to flunk the fourth grade. Won't that be fun? Ha ha ha."
"No way," said George. "That's not fair."
"Life ain't fair," said Ms. Ribble. "Get used to it."
Chapter 13, Bad Idea. That afternoon, George and Harold sat in their treehouse, feeling sorry for themselves. "She can't get away with that," said George. "We've got to tell somebody about this." "Nobody's going to believe us," said Harold. "Well, there's one thing we can do," said George. He opened the drawer to their drawing table and searched through the pens, papers, clips, dried spitballs, and rubber bands. Then he pulled out a dusty plastic ring from some gum with some gum stuck on it. It was the 3D hypno ring. "Oh, no," said Harold. "I thought we threw that thing away." We just threw the instructions away, said George, but I remembered how it works. Do you remember what happened the last time we used it? Asked Harold. Yeah, said George, but we were fooling around last time. This time we'll be serious. We won't make any mistakes. All we have to do is hypnotize her into changing our grades back to normal. That's all. I don't know, said Harold. It sounds like a bad idea to me. Worse than flunking the 4th grade? Asked George. Good point. Chapter 14, The Return of the 3D Hypno Ring. The next day at school, George and Harold stayed behind while the rest of the class went outside for recess. What are you punks still doing here? Asked Ms. Ribble. Said George nervously. We wanted to show you this really cool ring. Yeah, said Harold. If you look closely at it, you can see a funny picture. Well, hold it still, said Ms. Ribble as she stared at the ring intently. I have to move it back and forth, said George, or you won't be able to see the picture. Ms. Ribble's eyes followed the ring back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're getting sleepy, said George. Very sleepy, said Harold. Ms. Ribble yawned. Her eyes began to droop. I'm so sleepy, she said as she slowly closed her eyes. In a moment, said George, I will snap my fingers. Then you will be hypnotized. So sleepy, mumbled Ms. Ribble. Snap. Now, said Harold, you must listen very. Chapter 14 and a half. We interrupt this chapter to bring you this important message. Yep, I can read this one. Okay.
Hello. This is Chim Chim Diaper Brains. This is Ingrid Ashley reporting for Eyewitness News. We have a late-breaking story about a tragic incident that is now occurring in the Pacific Northwest. Police have just closed down the Little Wise Guys Novelty Company in Wawa, Washington. Apparently, this company has been selling very dangerous hypno rings. We now take you live via satellite to our reporter Booger Stinker Squirt, Larry Zarro, with the latest developments. Thanks, Chim Cham, said Larry. Reports have poured in from all across the country concerning children who have used the 3D hypno ring on their friends, family with disastrous results. But the most shocking revelation is the effect that the rings seem to have on women. Apparently, whenever the ring is used to hypnotize a woman, a mental blunder occurs, causing the woman to do the opposite of what she is being hypnotized to do. Doctors don't know why the ring causes the women to do an opposite reaction, but they are very concerned. If you or someone you loved purchase a 3D hypno ring, throw it away at once. And whatever you do, please don't use it on women.
Yeah, we'll read this one too. Chapter 14 and 3/4. We now return to our regularly scheduled chapter already in progress. And when we snap our fingers, George continued, you will change our grades back to normal. Yeah, said Harold, and you won't do anything crazy like turn into a wedgie woman. And you won't try to destroy Captain Underpants, said George, or take over the world either. Right, said Harold. You'll just, change your grades, and that's it. George and Harold looked nervously at each other. Well, said George, I think that covers everything. Yep, said Harold. We shouldn't have any more problems from Ms. Ribble. So the boys snapped their fingers. Snap. And then we will read Chapter 15, Bad Hair Night, later. All right. Good night. I love you.